Okay, red light is on. Let's see. Hopefully we're working. Audio and everything should be good. We tested beforehand here.
Testing.
Chat,
What's up,
let us
Debo?
know. Are we
I
live?
love it.
What is up?
Man, I'm stoked to be here because I know what we're about to go do and talk about baits. You're a bait geek. I'm a bait geek. I'm ready to geek out with the people who are watching and with you, man. This gets me through the winter.
I get it. See, I've got ice fishing ties me over. I don't love ice fishing as much as open water, but I actually look forward to ice fishing now. Love eating fish from the ice. There's nothing better. We were talking about that beforehand.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite replace the open water, but it does for now. That, and then just coming down here, I reorganize stuff and I put different reels on different rods and feel them or look through lures. Like that's what us lure nerds do, right?
Yeah, I'm making jigs in the basement now, and the room that you can't see next to me was just chaotic, and I've cleaned it out. I've built myself a new L desk, and I've treated myself after old Renzetti vise that I did a lot of fly fishing in the day, and so I try to infuse some fly material into anything that I'm doing, whether it's a spinnerbait,
like those little shaky heads you did. I've still got those sitting up there on my shelf.
You got it, man. I did the
new
this is a new football one for smallies, man. And
yeah, that's a tiny hook.
Yeah, it's a tiny hook, man. Yeah, Gamakatsu. Anyway, we'll get to that. But
okay.
I'm so excited to have a saltwater traveler vise from Renzetti, true rotary. I can tie bigger things on it because I struggled with my fly tying vise, which I painted lures in. I don't airbrush, as you know. I use Sally Hansen. So, there's paint in the vise jaws. It's a wreck. So I treated myself to that, and I'm stoked to create some new things. So yeah, man, that's what gets me through the winter.
That's real life. That's what we were talking about beforehand. I said I had to turn the lights down. Some of this stuff probably should have been cleaned up, but I said, hey, people know it's real studio. This is literally me in my dirty, messy garage or basement like you all have. So
and behind me and my desk is chaos. I've laid out some things to talk about tonight. Who knows where it's going to go because the conversation could go any which way. But I'm going to talk about some bait mods and hacks that I do, and customizations, and maybe some bait trends that I know you did your best of. And I saw your recent post about the Rio Rico. You definitely have found some gold there. And the P71, man, we just talked about it. Bigger baits, bigger bites. And that's a bigger popper. So I'm stoked to get into this conversation. I've got some things to talk about. Sinking crankbaits, for instance, that I put this little bait. I mean, I'm just going to dive right in, Debo.
Yeah, go for it.
This is a discontinued Suddeth bait. It doesn't really matter that it's a Suddeth. What I want you to know about this bait is it sinks. It's a sinking crankbait. And you don't hear about a lot of people throwing a sinking crankbait. This went up against a rock crawler. The rock crawler caught 0, and this one had a field day. Smallmouth with Joe Raymond, who's a smallmouth guide on the Susquehanna River. We were up New York fishing with Will Clute from Gajo Baits, and literally it was a super windy day. I was throwing it on 8-pound test on a spinning rod. I was getting to depth and contact the cover. I think it was hanging in the strike zone. It wasn't.
You think it was the ability to get there and just stay there, not moving, literally just
stay there? I'm worming the crankbait, so I could burn it and it would stay down. I could stop it and it would just hang there. And it didn't matter if it was 8 to go into a ditch of 10. It just found the depth the whole time. I had to go get it a couple times, but sinking crankbaits, don't sleep on it. And suspending crankbaits. We'll talk about that. I think what a lot of people don't know, when KVD was crushing everybody on the ledges on the Kentucky Lake and other ledge fishing lakes, his baits were sinking. Those guys drilled holes in their baits to allow water to come in because it didn't matter.
Talking about that,
yeah, sinking crankbaits, man. Little tip for everybody: don't sleep on it. Anyway, there you go. Jamie Samadas is in here. Look at who's in here in the chat, man. You got a lot. What does the star mean?
Yeah, we gotta welcome everybody. I'm gonna have Epic Eric give us his elevator pitch here. So
right.
Forever, because I haven't had him on. So there's some people that might not know you. Some people hopefully have seen you from other streams. Eric's a great guy in the industry that does, he does stuff with Rudd, with Travis, Smallmouth Crush, all kinds of people out there. He just loves to talk baits. And that's what we were talking before is there tends to be well, I shouldn't even say tends to be. There's drama in the bass fishing industry, just like any other thing, whether it's cars
Sure.
or, pew-pews, doesn't matter what sort of hobby you have. You have, kind of the chilled, laid back people. You have the extremists. It's like, hey, I just want to have fun and talk fishing. So that's kind of what we're going to do tonight. But I do want to thank all the members, like Josh, Josh, Scott, Ralph, everybody, all the members. I do want to take a special thanks to you guys and gals for paying monthly, you crazy nerds, paying monthly your own hard-earned money to help support me. I really, really do appreciate it. And because of that, we will be doing a giveaway tonight. So I showed you some of these all last time, but I actually painted up some more. These are just the ones I have here. But, some crappie lipless.
I love it.
I did like a little baby bass. A lot of people were asking about getting some of these, but just some of this stuff. I painted a bunch more liplesses. So I'll throw in a couple of my baits, and Eric's going to find one of his. It might be a custom painted, might be, I don't know. He'll have to decide, but we will have a pretty cool from the heart made by us giveaway tonight. So.
Yeah, it may be a little out of production bait with some Lucky Craft magic scales.
It
could be a Daiwa peanut like that. It could be some old school skirts, which we'll get into that at my old school skirt pack, and it's definitely going to be the full sticker pack. So
love it.
Starting with the Bass Lab. I mean, River Rat, Legendary Lakes. Maybe we'll talk about my passion project. St. Lawrence Super Tanker for all you smallmouth freaks out there. Dr. Crankenstein, if you're into crankbaits like me. Morning Wood is the newest edition. You do. This is the newest edition, Debo. I'll have to send you one of these. Maybe you got Morning Wood, or you got Dr. Crankenstein.
No, the Crankenstein back there. Yeah,
the Crankenstein one. Yeah, got one backwards. She thick. I think that's new. Anything you see here, Debo, I got you, man. Tug Life, Bassapalooza. They're all going in the pack. And Rise and Glide. Oh, wait a minute. Keep on grinding. Yeah.
Dude, I say that all the time. That's a sick one. I say embrace the grind all the time.
Dude, I love the grind. I literally love the grind. That's why I like the bait hack, because I'm always fishing behind somebody right now because I'm a team. But anyway, you told me you wanted me to give the elevator pitch. Is that
tell people about you. Yes, tell people about you real quick. Who just a short deal for anybody that doesn't know you, kind of what you do, what's your deal. Clearly, I think you might have a couple baits just looking behind you. So you might be
I have a few baits. Yeah, I'm a bait freak. I'm a bait hacker, and I love to make things. Not just hack baits with little mods, but I like to create. And I showed that little, shaky football jig. That's a smallie. It comes in, 1/8 ounce to 3/16. And there's really no true in my mind. And I combine fly tying because I've got a fly tying background. So different materials, a little bit of round, and it's silicone, not rubber. So you don't have any problems with little crystal flash. I just love trying to create something different. So that's in my DNA. Bait hacking, creation. Man, I've been a lifetime subscriber to Bassmaster magazine since I was a paperboy, Debo. I spent $150 of my hard-earned money.
So you must be like 35 by now then.
I'm 35, and this is my fisherman's logbook that I think came in my lifetime. I could go back and tell you what I was throwing at the Bowie dump in 1979 on April 22nd, if anybody would like to hear.
That's sweet. To do that when I was in kickboxing and stuff, I would write down workouts and exactly what happened and how, sparring was and that. Going back and looking at some of that stuff from like 2004, 2005, like I chuckle. Like I could last 30 seconds. I'd probably just die. I'd probably just pass away.
So I am the co-host of Smallmouth Crush, and as Debo mentioned, I kind of popped around. I've streamed with Baitman, Baxter the Baitman. I've been on Bass U, Ike Live.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Alex Rudd. And I really love it, man. I've had a chance to co-host a couple other shows. In fact, I think I'm going to be on Bass University next Tuesday, and we're going to go deep into a lot of the bait hacks that I do. So that'll be a bait hacking special show. I'm a tournament fisherman. I love team fishing, Debo. I owned a boat since before I had my license, customized a couple little aluminum John boats. That's how I started fishing. Grew up, got a fiberglass boat, had kids, was running businesses and started a few businesses throughout my career, focused on the family, became a coach, football, basketball, baseball, you name it, lacrosse. Did a little coaching off season for the high school lacrosse team. Enjoyed it. Some of the funnest times of my life. When the kids were young, kind of got out of the bass fishing scene and got into fly fishing. So I love freshwater fly fishing and saltwater. So I fish from fresh to salt, from trout to bonefish and tarpon. That's where I picked up a lot of my tying skills. So I love to sit at the bench and make things, whether it's a spinnerbait, a jig, whatever, a shaky jig, modify stuff, swivel head jigs, Neko rig jigs. You'll see them. And but the team thing today is probably the thing I love the most. I get up and get excited for team tournaments with Captain Scooter Lilly. He lives in North Carolina, and it was really cool, Debo, because my home river, for everybody that doesn't know me, is the Potomac River. I consider myself a river rat, as you can see on my hat.
I like it. Yeah.
And my shirt, river rat.
That's Dang, representing.
I'm a river rat. I love tidal water rivers. A little more complex. I fish in the dirt a lot. I'm a shallow dirt dauber power fisherman, but I love
that'll be good. That'll be good. Yeah, we need more of that talk.
Cool. And so Scooter is the same. He fishes fast. He fishes power. But I do bring a finesse game to the team. And so fishing multiple circuits down there. Scooter and I have won a couple championships. We've won several individual tournaments. And a lot of those have come on power baits like crankbaits, Debo, oddly enough. And I'm a huge, huge Balsa fanatic fan.
Yes.
If there's a Balsa bait out there, I think I know it. Maybe I slowed down a little bit because it got to be insane, couldn't keep up. But I love talking Balsa and handcrafted. A special affinity for the handcrafted Balsa makers.
That's actually kind of one of my. I'm gonna kind of push us into this question. That was one that I have for him, going back to my list here. Yep. So Balsa cranks.
Yes.
So Balsa versus production stuff, because a lot of people ask me about that, and I am not. I have limited knowledge of Balsa, but I am not the aficionado like you and Baxter and those guys. Which I got to get him on. Baxter, if you're watching, it's been way too long. We need to get you on.
Oh yeah.
Same for Rich. I see Hellabass is in here. Hello, Rich. We need to get you on.
Yes.
Sometime. Yes. But okay, so give us, like, for example, the Fritz side. So people always ask, hey, I don't want to buy a Balsa. I'll put it down when it's a pretty good one. But like, what would you say the big difference between, say, a good Balsa, and give us maybe a couple examples, versus a Balsa like plastic? The big differences are, and when or when not you might want to throw them.
Yeah, first and foremost, the Fritz side is a great bait for a production probably the best flat side maybe ever made in that reasonable price category. I think they're $9.99, maybe $11.99, something like that.
Look.
Right, you can get them on sale, right? There you go. Thank you. And David Fritz knows crankbaits, right? David Fritz made a lot of Balsa makers, very, very famous back in the day. From a Jerry Lures lure, which they're sitting up there. I mean, this was, David Fritz would drill out baits to weight them differently. I was on a stream with him on Bass After Dark, and that's the Jerry Lures, an original. And as you can see, it is a flat side. No surprise there. Not one of David Fritz's favorite colors, but yeah, he would drill out here and weight the Balsa so it would suspend. So he played a lot with weighting his baits. He also threw a pose, and he would weight them just the same. So David Fritz knows cranking. And, I've heard a little bit about the baits. The bills break easy. I don't know what's going on with that. Berkeley might have to fix that, but that's maybe one of the things. But from a Balsa perspective, let's talk. I think there's something about wood and water. If I think about a bait fish is solid, right? A plastic bait is hollow, because that's how they get their buoyancy. And when it comes to plastic baits, there's all different types of plastics. The old plastic baits were made out of butyrate, which is that milky bone color. And I have a rattle trap here, which is that. And they used to glue two sides together. You see that rattle trap? Okay, that's the butyrate. That's bone. Now they're making it out of the clear plastic, and it's just a little lighter, less dense, in my opinion, and it throws off a different wave. Anyway, I think the Fritz side's so popular because who before the Fritz side threw a plastic flat side? Flat A. That's one of the only flat sides I can think of that is a great bait. Had a lot of notoriety, kind of tough to throw, right? Kind of twirls and spins like a potato chip, because that's the knock on a flat side, right? as you know, I work with Marty Burns, Big M, right? And so I have him make me balsa flat sides. This flat side is about the same size as the junior, but I have him make it a little thinner, and it throws like a rock. It's full body balsa. And the other thing, I think balsa has a little more buoyancy than most plastic, and that can be an advantage or a disadvantage depending upon the season, right? I had Marty make a big bait for me, which I do sell occasionally. I don't get many. And there's only a few on the site right now. It's called the Epic Shad. So let's compare what I
are you still selling stuff on your site? We need to bring that up too.
Yes. Oh yeah, you can bring, because the stickers, I know some people wanted the stickers maybe, and they're all available on the website now. But look at the size differential between that. So Debo, when I'm cover cranking, if the fish are active, I want a very buoyant bait. Plastic that's thin, like doesn't have a lot of buoyancy. Right. It's going to back out. So this bait, when it hits cover, not only does it back out, it's so buoyant, it wobbles and has secondary action. So I'll worm this crankbait through. The other plastic bait that's not flat side that was the most buoyant that I know of was the Bomber Fat A. I love that bait for that reason. So if I think cover cranking, wood, stump, rock, riprap, if you're constantly hung up, and the one thing I do like about Fritz, because right now a lot of flat sides have the micarta lip, but I prefer Lexan. Micarta will give you a crispier action, right?
That's like the circuit board.
Yes, very thin, less crispy with Lexan, but Lexan, if you get this hung, it's going to be hard to get out. When you get micarta hung, it's hard to get out. When you get Lexan hung, you got a shot. Not saying you can't go get it, right? So it's something to think about. Most wood flat sides today that I see are made out of micarta. Lexan's harder to get. A lot of guys don't like cutting it on their CNC machine. It's tough on them. So it's just getting harder to find. I don't know what the rage is. I love a flat side with a micarta lip, and that's a F&R crankbait from Western North Carolina.
So really the heavier cover stuff, heavy wood, banging into that stuff, you're going balsa.
Yeah. And I think absolutely. Like even my square bills, I would prefer a very buoyant balsa bait that's going to back out of that cover, maybe have some secondary action on the rise so I can keep going. You know, I'm cranking, I'm reeling. If I'm crashing through, you know, you'll feel your line tighten up. I want something that runs true, because if I'm casting at a target, I want it to run straight to it. There you go, man. That's my quick thought on balsa. And I just feel like head to head, wood versus plastic, the wood's going to outperform the plastic. That's just my gut check. That first bait I showed, which is a sinking bait, that's a Little Earl made by Suddeth Lures out of South Carolina. That bait was made out of foam. So some baits used to be made out of foam.
That expanding foam stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think, yes. So that's a solid bait. It's not a hollow bait. I mean, there is an air chamber, but foam has flotation because it's got micro bubbles in it, right? But it's a solid body. And if I think about a fish has a solid body. So I feel like a wood bait is throwing off a different signature sound wise that a bass might say that just feels more natural to me. Right. I'll give you a case in point. You asked me about big baits. One of the the best, in my opinion, who's been doing it the longest, that is an East Coast glide bait maker. His name is Keith Thomas from Black Talon Baits. He makes several baits. One is called the Donk. He used to make them, Debo, out of wood. He now makes them out of composite. So wood versus composite. Composite, they pour. Everybody kind of knows how glides are made, right? They're plastic glides too, by the way, but a lot of composite glides out there. He said the wood glides were resin. He said the wood glides way outperform the resin glides. I think there's something to wood and water and that natural material. And I can't tell you what the bass is sensing, but it just gives me more confidence to throw a balsa over a plastic. I love a lot of plastic baits, dude. They're all in my boxes. Like BDS4 Lucky Craft, one of my favorite big baits. Bigger bite, bigger bait. And this was made to mirror balsa in terms of flotation. That was one of the missions or original ideas of the BDS series was to have a bait that would be constructed and behave like balsa.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
All right. I like it.
That's my wood stuff.
Okay. Joshua, do want to give a quick shout out. Joshua, the eternal giveaway winning fool here, who's won 75 million giveaways somehow on my channel with the $2 bomb. Thank you, brother. So let's kick the new year off with lots of fishing. Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Let's see. There was a good question here, and I know maybe we're stirring the pot a little bit too early, but there was a question about the I'm sure you saw that Dobbins got absorbed by GSM, right? Do you think that's going to? I don't remember what the exact question was. I'm trying to go back through here now. Oh, here we go. Interested in our thoughts on GSM shutting the Dobbins Sulphur Springs facility. I saw that.
Yeah.
Now, see, I probably have a different take on this because I work in corporate America. So it seems like every 2 months somebody's getting absorbed or bought by somebody else. I think it's definitely a different deal when you've got a smaller company like that's been around for so long.
Right.
It could be good. It could be bad. I mean, I don't know enough on it. Right. Obviously people losing their jobs, that's horrible. That's never a good thing. No. And people, I guess the big thing that I saw on all those is, it's the quality is going to cheapen. The rods aren't going to be as good. I'm not supporting them at all.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. I don't have a thought yet. To me, I would have to test out the new ones and see. I don't know if you have any other beef on it or know anything on it, but.
No, I heard the news. I know people were trying to verify it. I guess it's been verified and it's true. When private equity gets involved, man, I mean, that's a tough sled, man. They have made their way into many other industries, and there's dead bodies all over the place. It's tough.
Yeah, that's what happens. I don't know. I don't really have a take on it. I mean, it sucks. Obviously I hate seeing people lose their jobs, but that's what happens in, corporate America, like you said, when you get the investors and private companies getting in there. So, so I don't know, Mike, hopefully I hope the best of it, because Gary is still on board with them from what I understand, doing like their, I don't even know what his role would be, but hopefully, he doesn't let that happen, with his name on those rods. I hope to hell it doesn't, because they're good.
Right.
I like Dobbins rods.
Right.
Okay. So questions that I had for you. Number one. So you said you were watching my video or saw, me post about poppers. What was your number one lure for the year?
It would have to be a crankbait.
Or even technique. Do you have a specific one or a couple? You're like, these two were kind of head and shoulders above the others.
Yeah, man. A eddy flat side in the spring on rock and transition banks outside of spawning bays and pockets. That's got to be top. That cashed us some money for sure. And the Epic Shad was responsible for some big bites that got their way in. Okay. And then I'd say as the season progressed, man, the Neko rig, believe it or not, played a good. It was good in the game and non-live scope, believe it or not. Up north, it was that little finesse football jig that I make.
Show this off. That's pretty sweet. I've got some here. I noticed. I said earlier, the shaky heads that you used to do that were sick, and I actually kind of stole your idea and did that for the Ned rig, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
I didn't sell them or anything, but
no, I love it. I want doing people to be inspired.
Yeah, doing like a finesse. If you want to show that one, doing essentially like a finesse Ned rig with I didn't do the fur, but just a few strands like that. It adds a different look to a Ned rig.
It really does, man. So football head, it's got some natural hackle up front. Again, round silicone, not rubber, so you don't have any problem storing it and it melting. A little bit of crystal flash right there, and that's called the Black Knight. And I pair that up with, and this is really hard to beat for a trailer debo, the Max Scent Leal General. The Max Scent
Leal
General.
Ones, the little tiny ones.
The Leal General. Not a crawl. It's a Ned. It's called Leal General. It's like a stick bait.
Oh, the General. Yeah, size. I was thinking the I'll see if I
Yeah, the
have some of
Leal
those.
General, because the General
And do you sell
is,
those on your site?
yes, I
Do you
sell
do like
these.
drops?
I do drops. Some new styles are coming in, new colors are coming in. And then the other, the other thing that I'm pretty proud of is this everlasting drop shotter. I've got the Helgi version, same kind of thing. It just doesn't wear out, right? The tail, you can add scent to the tail. It doesn't gunk up the bait. It's got marabou up front. The action of marabou is really tough to beat. But
So that
is,
all you're doing is tying your hook like you would normally on the drop shot and just adding a weight, and that's it.
100%.
Huh.
Yep. A devastating bed bait, by the way. Not that people love bed fishing, but if you are, absolutely. Yeah, and there's just something about it. And if walleyes love it, and so do perch. So right there, the leech. Yeah, or the Helgi pattern. Yep.
Yeah, bass. That's a really see that happen. We get upset with companies being absorbed or bought out. But yeah, a lot of times that's the only way for some companies to stay alive. I don't necessarily know
Very
or
true.
think that was the point for Dobbins. Maybe, I don't know, but
Very
some
true.
of them it's either they're gone or they get absorbed. So it's at least we still have them. But
and I'd say the second bait in the spring, aside from a flat-sided crankbait or a big-bodied crankbait for that bigger bite, was slow rolling a big 3/4 ounce spinnerbait around.
I need to slow. I'm not a slow roll spinnerbait guy. I'm an old KVD, fishing a foot from the top, like around wood. That's how I was. Yeah. I need to slow roll more. So, okay. While we're on that, then give us a quick, when are you looking to slow roll, and do you have any tips? So, like, are you always keeping bottom contact? Like bink, 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 just making sure you're down there, or
just above the bottom, slow rolling that thing along. Yeah, you're going to be, your head should be chipped. The paint's going to be worn off at the end of the day. No doubt about it.
when do you do that?
Man, early spring, pre-spawn, channel swing banks to secondary points leading into spawning pockets and bays. Anywhere from a foot of water to 8.
So essentially a spinnerbait crankbait type of thing early in the spring.
100%. And the other bait that you're going to find me with is a Shad Rap. A Shad Rap number 6, a 6. A 5 will get you more bites. A 6 is kind of that size in between they do make a 6. This is a 6, by the way. And this is a European color. It's called Frost. That is a chrome Shad Rap.
That's sick.
With a white top.
Do you throw yours on a spinning rod?
100%. I love throwing a spinner. And by the way, I will do one of two things. You could throw some lead wire or even soldering wire. If you want to get cheap. This is fly tying wire. And this is 025. They make different sizes. I probably like the 035 the best. And if you really want to get, now I will roll that wire because Shad Raps, like flat sides, have a tendency to tumble. I want to throw it on a 7-foot medium to 7.3 medium light spinning rod, straight 8-pound test monofilament, 8-pound test monofilament, not fluorocarbon, monofilament.
Why?
Right? It's easier to manage.
Stretch?
It's limper. Okay. It's limper. Yeah, it does have stretch. A lot of guys will upsize their hooks to get it to suspend or slow sink, right? I feel like when you upsize the hooks, you kill the action of the bait. This is a legendary bait for a reason. It has a very tight action, just like that Sudeth I showed, one of the best cold water baits ever made. Another best cold water bait ever made. That's going to be on the deck of my book.
I don't know how long.
Right. The other way you could do it, and this is probably my preferred method, and I did it on a flat side so you guys can see. This is a flat-sided crankbait. Don't sleep on suspending. I just talked about sinking crankbaits, but suspending crankbaits in cold water. When I contact that cover, I don't want that bait backing out. I want that bait to hang in the strike zone, right? I'm worming it. If I hit that rock, I pause. And when I say worming, I'm casting it out. I'm getting it to depth. And then I'm pulling and feeling for cover. Once I contact that cover, I want that bait to hang in the strike zone. This does have a micarta lip. I would prefer a Lexan lip. This is made by Craig Powers, CP Baits. This is a CP3. He trained with Sonny McFarland from Flat Shad, one of the best East Tennessee balsa bait makers.
I told you all you were in for some scoop. This guy,
right?
Total bait.
So again, if I wrap the lead around the back hook, this bait casts way better. But what do I give up? If I have the lead on the back hook, it's going to make that bait do that. That might not be bad because it might look like it's fleeing when it's there, right? But it's going to expose the hooks. I'm going to hang up a little bit more. If I really want to get goofy, I put the lead tape on both sides of the hook hanger, like the Fritz side. And if you really want to get crazy, you can take some nail polish and cover that up. So you put your lead on, burnish it down with, the back end of a scissor or the flat side of a scissor. Once you've cut it to shape, you're going to have to test it. You can add lead. I don't mind a slow sink. I definitely want it to suspend, and I don't even mind a slow rise. But when I weight it that way, that bait should stay level and rise like a natural bait fish up and down. So it takes a little extra doing. Yeah.
People know, oh, this is a treble. Just and wrapping it right around the shank real tight, right?
That's exactly right. Yep.
So if that,
and you get
just taking it and wrapping it.
That's right.
Of the hook.
That's exactly right. Yep. So go steal some nail polish. I'm a big Sally Hansen fan. I use hardest nails for everything. I can finish it when I'm tying a jig on the thread. I can repair a little chip on a crankbait, paint over it so there's no water coming into your wood. Yeah, man, and there's millions of colors. I mean, this is something I did, Debo. You can see the big fat gold flake on that. You don't see that. That's real old school, Debo. That's real old school. So that's the cheap man's.
I like the glitter.
Lucky. Yeah, the glitter, but it's fat glitter, and there it is. That's Essie. That's Essie. You know it, man.
That's a sick way. Now, do you know, does that react with like the epoxy if you use that?
No.
Okay, that's good.
No, because it's lacquer. So lacquer, generally guys are airbrushing with lacquer based paints. Now, if you're airbrushing with water based paints, yeah, this lacquer is going to melt that paint, because I use an airbrush, but it's the Copic system, so it's water based. Right.
Yeah.
And
so
there are some matte finishes that this will melt too, by the way.
Do you clear coat over that, or are you just letting the nail polish be its own?
No, if I really want to get goofy like this, and there are matte finishes too. This is glossy, high gloss, which is on this, but they also make a matte top coat. So if you're goofy and you want your bait to be matted, you could use the matte top coat. So yeah, I cleared over this color, and I suffered a little bit because I did use the Copic on this, Debo, and I let it dry, but a lot of it's just clear. I put a little orange accents. I wanted a bone color. This is my golden shiner pattern, but I'm a big fan of the big eye. I like big eyes.
I love big eyes on these jigs.
And I don't know why
jigs, cranks.
Big
it's
eyes,
like a target.
Big eyes, 100% in my mind. 100%. You stop that bait, and that bait fish is looking at that bass with that big eye. He can't handle it. Exactly.
No, Little Rich asked, I don't know if you have any handy, but he said, please take a moment and show some of your father's artwork. Do you have any?
Wow. Yeah, I got all of his portfolios out there, man. I will do that. You want me to do that?
Comments. If you have a
right
couple,
now, sure.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. I'm sorry. I didn't even think about that, guys. Yeah, I turned my lots of damn ads. I'm sorry. Yeah, so stupid YouTube switched it now. So I was getting everything ready before and put my links and stuff in, and put monetization on, and I forget I need to do that after. Before, YouTube never put, when you would put monetization on, it never did ads until the replay. Now they've changed it so it throws it in the live roll. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'll fix that next time, guys. My bad.
So my dad was a wildlife artist. He did a lot of art for NRA. He did a big game series, but he loved watercolor. I'll just show a few of his watercolor prints.
Yeah,
these are just studies, Debo. These are studies. So there's like a hunting scene right there. Let's see. I'm literally just don't even know what's in here. I mean, he would visit the islands and paint. That was St. Croix. Let me see if there's some light. Oh, this is pretty cool. I really like that one right there. Those two elk, right? Never didn't finish that one because that was an NRA card. I think those are some pintails in a marsh. Let's see, what else do I got?
That's awesome.
This was a really cool study. The top one right here, that was a print for NRA called Dawn Flight. You see the three geese up top. But in the final, there were 3 geese very prominent kind of going through there. But these were just studies. These were studies. So really proud of my dad and his artwork, man. His name was Gene Galasso.
The people and things we.
He was a huge fan of lighthouses, so I pardon the glare, but you know, I wouldn't expect a little bit of an art show. But yeah, man, that's my dad. That's where my art comes from. I feel like,
that's
cool. I feel like it's running through my veins, man. You know.
Are they constant, guys? I'm sorry. I don't control the ads. Well, I do. I will turn them off for next time. I apologize. I won't turn them on until after. Didn't even think about it. My bad. Okay, so let's go. So that was your favorite lure. Let's get into what I want to, because each year I feel like, and I think I probably know what you're going to say, but maybe not. Maybe you've got some insider knowledge that we don't know about. What do you think the lures and or techniques of this year are going to be? Do you think we're going to see a trend of things that we've already seen? I want to say what my thoughts are.
Interesting. I'll start. I'm very excited about 2 things. One, the NPFL going to no live scope, no forward facing. I'm excited. I'm an old school fisherman. I mean, you just heard how I like to fish, what I like to do. I still walk in the bank. I love using my rod, line, and lure and putting it all together and then figuring out the bite, depth, speed, and cadence, and not know when it's coming. I love topwater fishing. When I saw you put up those 3 big chuggers, the P71, the Rio Rico, which not many people throw, it warmed my heart. I forget your other one. And there's a mid-sized popper down from it, which go ahead.
The Excite Baits one that they came out with.
Yeah.
To like the
the
Rico.
Yep.
I think is the name of it, villain.
Yeah. So I love throwing a buzzbait. I love hacking up a buzzbait. I love experimenting with blade combinations on buzzbaits, Debo. Whoever thought about putting a 1/4 ounce blade on a 1/2 ounce buzzbait so you can really move that sucker, or putting a 1/2 ounce blade on a 1/4 ounce or a 3/8 ounce buzzbait so you can really tinker. Right. And, making the hole bigger or making it squeal right before you put in the water. It's almost at its end of its life, and it's a tournament. So that's what you want. And I don't know when that bite's going to come. I won a tournament with Scooter on Lake Gaston in dog hot heat of the summer. And there were plenty of people that were using forward facing that day, and they generally have the advantage in the summer. But we found a group of fish in a back bay, dirt shallow in the dirt, and the buzz bait found them. Took off the skirt, put on a Z-Crawl Junior, and it's a head knocker buzz bait made by Bass Alarm. And that gave us the clues where the fish were in the area in this back bay that they were hanging. And we weighed in 17, and the nearest team weighed in 14. And we were fishing against all the local hammers. That's not our strongest lake. But the bites that we generated on a hollow body frog, Scooter's throwing the hollow body, I'm throwing the buzz bait, were just phenomenal. I love not knowing. That's why I love fishing, and that's why I love the gear. So I always think depth, speed, cadence. Cadence is, how am I working my jerk bait? Am I burning the bait? Am I putting any extra action into it? There are crankbaits like the Jerry Lure's Little Speedy that is a great worming crankbait, by the way, that I'll worm through cover, and it comes through cover great. It's Balsa. Again, Balsa for me. But when I contact cover, if I twitch the rod, the bait will do a 180. So if there's a bass in that cover and he sees that bait turn around, I've triggered so many bites doing that. And that to me is the magic. Feeling the cover, not knowing when, not watching a screen to know that a fish is there, and then generating a strike from, again, depth, speed, action, how I'm presenting the bait, the shape and profile. Am I throwing a big fat bodied bait, or am I throwing like a small bait, like Rick Clun's? Yeah, he was enamored. This is the Norris crankshot, by the way, worming crankshot. And I've had my ass kicked by a finesse crankbait, and I've kicked ass with a finesse crankbait. I love all that stuff, man. So I'm excited about the NPFL. That's a long, big-winded story. And I'm excited about the MLF because you've got 2 periods with no live scope. I think that's what it is. And then one in the middle with live scope, right? So I'm pretty stoked.
Oh, is that what they went to? I didn't even read that.
Yeah. And then Bassmaster at least doing some standards, because again, that's been the big drama in the business, right?
Right.
I acknowledge the technology. Look, I fish with Travis Manson. He's a scoper and he's a scope hog. I don't love when I'm on the front trying to peer around, seeing what he's seeing, because he always wants to cast first. Who doesn't want to catch the fish first?
Right.
Like if you and I are standing on the bank and we see a 3-pounder, we're both going to cast.
Who's casting to it? Yeah, exactly.
Right. He's got 3 screens and he says, come up front because we're filming. I'm like, nah, I'll stay back here. And I just love working the back of the boat because I know he's putting me around the fish. And I think what's been happening, and I've confirmed this with, gosh, I've had several conversations, that those fish are starting to feel the pressure of the ping. I fished. This is crazy.
Yeah, I've heard that.
DEBO, I saw it live. I fished last year, or 2 years ago with Chris Bullock on Bugs Island, which is also known as Kerr Lake. Scooter and I have won a championship there, and we've multiple individual tournaments there. And the championship was a $34,000 check. I'm really proud of that. And that was all in the dirt on Big Topwater. Anyway, I go out fishing with Chris because he was one of the original Carolina crankers. I mean, original. Triangulating spots, using that depth speed cadence. He loved the balsa bait. He signed one right here. And this was one of his favorite colors. This is a Rapala. And there's his name, Chris Bullock. Awesome. So here's the story on Bugs Island. This is a legendary lake. It had a lot of tournaments on it throughout the years. He's a crappie guide now, but he has won, I don't even know how many tournaments down in the Carolinas. And Kerr was one of his strongest. We went out and he goes, watch this. Now, live scope was born in the crappie community, right? They were the best.
Yeah, they already had it. That's what I always talk about, like ice fishing.
100%.
And yeah, the panfish guys, we've already been using it. You know? They've already been using that.
100%. So we're out, and he goes, watch this, man. The bass are starting to react. So he takes me to a brush pile in front of a dock. He says, usually there's 10 to 15 bass under this dock. As soon as I shine, they're going to disperse. And that's what they did. I watched it with my own eyes. Now, granted, he was close, probably only 40 feet. But he had already noticed that, because, when he's crappie fishing, he catches a lot of bass. But he's noticing when he's crappie fishing now, if he sees bass in the brush piles that he's planted, by the way, so he knows where hundreds of them are, he's seeing the bass move out. Wild, huh? So
yeah, I don't know. I've heard all the stories. I'm a noob when it comes to this stuff. I've got a buddy that has it on his boat, buddy Brando, that I go with, and the stuff you can learn is awesome. I'm not a tournament guy. I'm not making my money, with it, and I think that's a whole different deal. When your living is,
I agree.
Doing this, I understand the argument and why you would want to die on one hill, or the other, depending on what type of fishing you do, but.
100%.
I don't know. It's interesting. But I don't have a stance. So I'm pretty boring when it comes to it. But it's like I've learned some cool stuff. You see, and you can see these fish follow. Like I was working a big topwater. You see these fish come right up to it and then kind of you do, like you were saying, different speed or cadence, and it get right there where you do something different and they would scare them off. So that kind of stuff is really interesting. But
it's really cool if it's duplicatable. Like if you could use that learned teaching, that lesson, if you're walking the bank, not knowing when to use that cadence that seemed to work, but was that fish that day, that moment in that feeding window?
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. And so for me, I'm talking about it from a co-angler's perspective and a team partner. I wouldn't want to be on a tournament these days circuit unless I could bring my own. If I was just sitting out the
sitting
middle.
Back there blind.
So it's really just a personal preference thing. It's just the way I like to fish. I still love walking the bank, Debo. I still love team fishing. And luckily I got a partner. I'm not saying, look, we use it. I'm not saying we've never used it. And I'm not saying Scooter doesn't use it. But I'm able to generate bites behind Travis and behind Scooter by doing different things. Just being in the vicinity of fish. And maybe they're outside the cone and they don't see. 2 years ago, I was with Travis on Ontario. We were up for the pre-spawn because you can fish Canadian side. And we were shooting a Z-Man monster bass takeover box, Debo. And I said to Travis, I said, I wonder if a bigger bait for these smallmouth would generate a bigger bite. Just like you and I were talking before the stream started. I mentioned a couple of times. And so what did I pick out? I picked out the biggest craw in the box. with a gaff hook. It's one of those pro EWGs with the lead weight up front and then the lead on the shank. And this crow is this big, and I had 20-pound gamma that I was throwing. And the first 2 fish I caught, not looking at him, but he had already fished the big boulders that I fished, and he was throwing a Ned, little tiny finesse TRD, and he was throwing a Z2 as well. I caught a 6'11" and a 6'8". And then after that, we shot the video. Those were the 2 big fish of the video. We caught a bunch of other ones. So did he. But those were the big fish in the area. And it's wild. They weren't getting shined at the time. And I was bombing this cast, just covering water. I saw 2 big, flat, giant boulders and about 8 foot of water coming off the shore. It was clean enough to see his little stain. That's why I think the big line didn't matter. And then we started going out on a flat, and he was scoping, just looking. You know how those guys do on 80 or 90s, just looking for fish. And I'm getting bored. It's like 11 o'clock, sun's starting to get high. And I'm like, well, if those fish were pre-spawned, there's got to be fish roaming this big flat coming in looking. So I just started bombing up. And this is another great bait that if you don't have in your arsenal, you should. The Mini Max, the Z-Man Mini Max chatterbait. Now I was throwing a 1/2 ounce. I just started bombing casts, man.
Going right there.
There you go, dude. That was the color, green pumpkin. That was the one, Debo. And I threw as my trailer. I had a finesse worm from Zoom and Yabi mud puppy or Yababi mud puppy. It's like a green pumpkin with chartreuse and green flake. Looked like a perch. That's what I was trying to imitate because they eat a lot of perch. I just started bombing casts, like hovering water, and caught 2 more 6s. My last fish of the day was another 6 on a spinning rod. And it was on Jamie Samadas' bait, the hollow tip worm. I glued a rattle in the hollow tip, and I was just shaking it. Wasn't looking. And
that was a question
was
too. Before I forget, you talked about one of your other favorites being the Neko.
Yes. I want to show that hack.
Yeah. Do you have any tips or plastics and or
I do.
hard hook?
So I'm in love.
Also, I want to thank everybody for staying with us. We were almost at 300 there, 288 right now.
Oh, very cool.
People watching. Yeah. Thank you all so much for joining in. Hit the thumbs up, the old Debo stream. We appreciate you chilling with us. Talking lures.
Lures, man. Got a couple things I want to show. And this can be used, by the way, to get your bait back. I don't care what bait you're fishing. Jig. It could be used to get your Neko out of some stuff. Anything. It works on anything. I think it's one of the coolest bait hacks I got. I love the Gamakatsu B10S stinger. So
what are those again?
For that, it's a Gamakatsu. Sorry, I said that really fast. B10S.
B10S. Okay. So like a straight shank. Is it like an O'Shaughnessy or?
It is an O'Shaughnessy. I think O'Shaughnessy hooks have a little bit more holding power than a round bend. I don't know what it is about an O'Shaughnessy, but there's the O'Shaughnessy bend. All right. So rig your Neko however you like. This, my friend, you're a crappie fisherman. I know you panfish, Debo.
Not a ton, yes, but I do tinker with it. I enjoy it. See, I got into the BFS bug a little bit this year, and I've been having fun.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So that lead head for my Neko has an eyeball.
Is that just an old regular lead jig head like the
100%. So you would cut anywhere along with a pair of pliers or snips, right? And then I want you to make that little, the jig keeper, the little bend that you make for that's on your jig keeper, Debo. And there you go, man. That's a cheap, very cool and colorful, and it gives them a target. And I like the fact that lead is sticking along the bottom, right? So
I didn't even plan this, but I actually found one of my old. This is old. I don't even know.
Oh my gosh, you got so many Neko heads in there right now.
Yeah. So you're just talking about like one of these. God, I don't even remember what the brand of all these were, but so you're just talking about taking one of those.
Yes.
Cutting the hook and the eye off and just keeping the lead
100%.
Bait keeper and just sticking on there. Cool.
Well, no, I'll keep a little bit of the hook shank too, Debo, because what I want to do
to center it like your center pin.
Right, a center pin, exactly. And then I want to take a little bit of that end of that hook with some needle nose pliers and make that little J bend like you have on your jig wire for the bait keeper. You make that little R bend.
My
You know what I'm saying?
little backwards hook.
A little backwards hook, because that way it's going to hang in there
Try this
longer.
now and show people.
Dude,
This is
absolutely.
interesting.
Please do that. And by the way, this is a very cheap lure retriever. And I would say, Debo, keep one of these in your pocket when you're cranking or you're Neko rigging or you're throwing a jig.
Like a
Dude,
pocket
no,
knocker.
you make it. This is a 2-ounce flat catfish sinker that what you do is you take a pair of snips, you snip right there that brass, or you could use a split ring and this, which is just a snap. And you could get a whole pack of them at Bass Pro, get some snaps, and you can make yourself, you could spend $4.99 for a pocket retriever, or you can spend cheap money and make yourself a bunch of those, man. This has saved me so much money, I can't even tell you. You can step it up to 3 ounces if you want. You'll lose some lure retrievers, but that'll get your jig back, your Neko back, your Ned rig back. I mean, yeah, if you got a tungsten weight, that can save you some money, man.
Right. Yeah. What weight do you normally use for your Nekos? I know it might depend, but what's your like go-to?
Yeah, the lightest I can get away with.
Okay. To keep bottom contact as light as you can.
Light as I can. Absolutely. Yep. As light as I can.
And plastics, what were your go-to plastics while I bring up that hook real quick, just so people can.
Man, yeah. I mean, I really like, it's hard to beat. If you think about like, what's the most valuable worm? The best finesse worm or trick worm that's ever been made is a Zoom.
I would say Zoom or Robo, maybe.
Robo for sure. Because,
that
I'd probably go Robo. If I had to pick one.
Is that the ones? Oh, shoot. I thought I was sharing here. Sorry. Is
that
them?
Yeah, Gamakatsu, yeah. But if you want to get a weedless one, you can get a 25-pack pretty cheap, right? But if you want to get the weedless one, the VMC one's really nice too. So because it has those two little pieces of
yeah. Have you ever tried either Decoy or Ryugi? Those are the ones I've gone to and really like.
They're ultra sharp for sure. No doubt.
I think it's I think Decoy is the one that makes the wacky / Neko one that I've been using.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these, either the finesse or they've got a heavy cover one that's wire. Maybe that's Ryugi.
Yeah.
Because fish in the bank, or if you're fishing around cover, I don't want it to be 100% weedless, Texas rigged, but I like to have some sort of open hook.
Right.
I am still sharing, right? Yeah. Okay.
You are. Yep.
So the trick worm, I'm sorry, I've gone off on a. Did you say the trick worm? Zoom trick worm was your?
Zoom trick or Robo.
Okay.
I love a Robo. We were kind of talking about it before that. Aaron Martin's Morning Dawn with the white belly is probably my favorite color of all time.
I need to throw that more. Yeah, I've never been, which is strange because I love purple. Huge purple fan of stuff. I think it goes under the radar.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so here's the one. And they're on sale now. I know they're kind of expensive, a little bit more pricey. That's the heavy one.
Right.
Are they all that? Oh, I guess I didn't know they were called heavy. But yeah, these are the ones I've been using and really like those too for like wacky Neko little wires on them.
That's right. Yeah, and the other thing that I've really enjoyed doing is power shot with or free rigging, power free rigging.
See, I got big into the finesse free rig with like the missile baits, like their little micro D-bomb or little plastic. Oh, good thing I closed that. That would have been awful.
Oh, that'd have been awful, man. Here's another thing I want to show you that I did. I'm pretty stoked about this, man.
Yeah.
So I made myself a little micro tackle box and I labeled it. So I have all these in my go bag.
Oh,
I've got
fancy.
Yeah. So I've got like the wacky one and I put my little stickers on it. And so check this out. There's my Neko hook setup. And those are VMCs, by the way. So, and that has and you can see
fluorocarbon.
Yeah, the fluorocarbon. Right. Exactly. A little bit thinner wire gauge than what you just saw. But yeah,
that's another good one you can get too. They often have sales on the 25 packs of those. I've had really good luck because I think those are the ones where is that the one where they close the top with that stuff?
Right. Yes, they do. They do.
I don't know what it is, like a resin or something, UV resin.
And in the back there, my little Neko weights, right? So I got two little compartments, and I can stick it in my pocket. So like if I'm drop shotting, and here's a little cool trick. So Great Lakes Finesse makes this product, but you can also buy it from on Temu really cheap. So like when you're drop shotting, and this is to any co-angler that might be going up to the St. Lawrence fishing on the back of the boat, get the heaviest drop shot weight you can find because you're going to be in current. And what you want to do is wait for the pro to drop first. You want to watch it. Don't drop. If you're dragging, maybe you got to do something different. But if he's drop shotting vertically, right, and he's using scope and he's over a fish in 40 feet of water, and get a 3/4 ounce drop shot weight and drop, you will definitely, because a lot of times those fish have a tendency to go under the boat. You'll drop faster and drop first. It'll get to the bottom before he can get there. Go heavy.
You're sniping the main angler up front.
Why not? I mean, especially if you're on a school. If he's working, if he's shaking a minnow, it's a different story, right? Throw a swim bait, try to cover water, maybe drag something, Carolina rig. Because I fish behind a very, very good smallmouth fisherman. So I've had to come up with some ways to snipe him, Debo.
That's good. Yeah. That's right. See, I got into, I don't know if I told you, I got big into the kayak game too. I got my first kayak. Yeah. So been doing the kayak stuff, which has been a lot of fun to go from, primarily bank fishing. I had a John boat, but it was a pain in the butt to get out. And anyway, long story, mostly bank fishing, and being able to do the stuff like this. I fished a drop shot from the boat. It's 1,000 times easier in a boat than from the bank, some of these things. So it's interesting to see the different ways to kind of open up, fishing and such. We did get a good question here from Patrick. Yes. Do you ever put rattles in your soft plastics? I'm gonna grab some nips. I'll be right back.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, Patrick, no question about it, man. I just told you. So I love a glass rattle. There are some really super small ones. And I feel like that just adds a little bit more. If I'm shaking, like a shaky head, and I get a very, very small glass rattle in the bait, I'll do it. It's something that I don't think a lot of people take the time to do, Debo, anymore, is use a glass rattle. So, Patrick, yes, absolutely. And the hollow tip worm. And by the way, Debo, I do have a hollow tip worm that I collab with Jamie on a color. It's called the EE Special. It's green pumpkin watermelon laminate. And if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to type my website.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that earlier when we got on tangents. Yes,
that's okay. So it's Bass Lab.
Well, here we'll just bring it up real quick.
Oh yeah, thank you, man. Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
And you can see the hollow tip worm on there.
Bass Lab, what?
So it's basslab.bigcartel.com.
Oh, there's the shaky head.
Yeah, there's the shaky head. You get to see it in action. That's right. So that's like my jig worm, jig finesse worm, jig trick worm, jig robo worm, because you can use any worm you want. And let me get to the hollow tip worm. There's the hollow tip worm. It's on the front page. So if you want to go to that hollow tip worm, just go right down below the Helgi Smasher.
Where are we going?
Keep going, keep going. Yep, right there to the right of those epic shads. That's it. So that Patrick, this is how I use the hollow tip worm to round out my 32-pound limit with Travis solo five best smallies. That there's an air chamber in the back there, and that makes that worm stand up straight. And you could throw a small glass rattle. When you order them from me, I put a free pack of rattles in for you. A drop of super glue, drop it in, and now you've got a rattle in the back of the tail. So when you're shaking that hollow tip worm, it's creating that sound. And you can really leave that bait in place, and it's going to attract bass. I also love the hinge on this bait too, creates a lot of action. And then beyond that, I love the ringworm aspect of that because, Debo, I am a scent man for sure. It holds smelly jelly.
Getting into that.
I'm a scent freak. I'm a Max.
So you think it makes a difference for sure?
I know Max Scent does, and I believe there's been days where
that's the most confidence I've had in one is Max Scent.
And the other one I really, really love right here. Procure, if you're going up north and you can't get yourself, because this is water-based, Procure Goby. And it's got real goby in it and probably other ingredients too, but it's got UV, I believe. It's UV gel. So let's talk color, Debo.
Okay.
What's one of the most effective? Name your most effective color overall in plastics.
Green pumpkin.
Right.
Technically, if we're going confidence green pumpkin / black and blue like a laminate, I think is amazing almost anywhere.
So a bass's eyes, and I talked about this on the Bass After Dark show with David Fritz. The two colors that bass can see, because they have color receptors for this, are red and green. So green pumpkin and red. And bass's eyes are geared for contrast, black and blue. Black is the most contrasting color out there, white. And did you know, Debo, that a bass goes colorblind at night, and the color receptors turn off? That's why black baits at night, or
Black,
those darker
dark purple, because it's just a silhouette is all. They're just hunting 100%.
Right. And bass need to see contrast in the environment to feed and be effective predators. Now they can see, they can smell, and they taste, and they feel with their lateral line. But here's the really cool part, Debo. About 2 hours after sunrise, they're still colorblind, because their color receptors do not go switch off on and off. They gradually lose their colors vision as dusk approaches, and then at night they are completely colorblind, and then they're a little bit colorblind in the morning. So early morning, this is my tip of the day: don't sleep on dark baits, black crankbaits, black spinnerbait. Right.
I was just arguing this with somebody. So for frogs, a frog, 90% of the time I throw all black. For whatever reason, poppers, walking baits, man. I never throw black.
Dude, don't sleep on a black Rio Rico. All I can tell you, I wish I could show you a color that it's in my tackle box, because it's so
here's mine that I mocked up just for people to see real quick.
Let's
I cut the head off.
Yeah.
Made the little keeper. I couldn't find a worm here. I was trying to do this without spilling everything, but yeah,
you can Neko a crawl. You can Neko a lot of things, man. Just don't think worm on Neko.
A little finesse. Helgramite. That's one of the little yum Helgramites.
Dude, that's dirty. And if you really want it to last a long, long time, you can put a drop of gel super glue, man. Boom. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Or
and I loved
my buddy Randizzle is still trying to get sponsored by Menda. He keeps it on his belt. He uses it for everything.
That's right. That's right. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. Now that's a good bait hack right there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm definitely gonna have to try that. That's cool, because it gives you that, like a jig headed.
Right.
And they're cheap. How much is? I don't even.
Oh my gosh, you can get hundreds of those weights for nothing. And then if you really want to get geeky, and you buy yourself a cheap fly tying vise and some thread, you can use all your old skirt material, Debo. Never throw a skirt from a skirted jig away that falls apart, because what can you do? This is just a shaky jig. Look at that. A little skirt material in your favorite color blue. And I'm talking sparse. Have you ever noticed?
I stole that idea from you. I completely told people I stole that from you, but making my Neds off to see if I have one. But dude, it is true. It adds a whole different look to it.
That's a swing head
secondary action of it just sitting there moving, undulating in the water.
It is, man. It is. It is. I mean, here's another shaky head with some skirt material woven through it. And by the way, if you want to do that, you can make yourself dice. You can make yourself a fuzzy freaking crawl. You can make yourself a fuzzy Senko. That's a fly tying tool, Debo, or you can get yourself a bait needle for $1.99. Dude, that's what I'm talking about there.
That's the Ned jig.
Yes.
I stole the epic Eric idea and made my little Ned jigs, man.
That makes me happy, bro. That makes me happy. Oh, Patrick, I wanted to show you this. Debo, you're going to love this, because it involves a rattle. This is, I think, one of the most clever ways to add rattle to a jig. A jig. Okay, so this accounted for this hair jig right here. Modified Arky, 1/4 ounce on a spinning rod. This is hair, natural fiber. Cut down the weed guard, right? Modified Arky head, 1/4 ounce. Gold mustad, by the way. What's on the shank, bro? Check this out. You guys are going to love this. And I had a pork chunk on the back, but that's a glass rattle inserted in heat shrink tubing.
Oh, no, that's an interesting way to do it.
I caught a Potomac River bass about, I don't know, wouldn't fit in the live well straight. He was probably close to 9.
What's your PB, Eric?
Man, my PB was a 25-inch fish in Florida last year on a Bagley
Hold on.
spin
Back
tail.
up. Go
We
ahead. Don't do the measuring. We don't do the measuring on this channel. We need pounds.
I didn't have a scale, man. Hold on.
Oh no!
I'm getting the actual bait, bro.
Dang it!
This is pretty good. It's
I
one
joke
of my
about
favorites.
it. Since I've got a kayak now, everybody says I need to start measuring fish, and I'm trying to hold
Right.
back as much as I can.
So I've retired this bait because I never want to lose it. So full orange belly. You can see the hook rash on it. These are Gamakatsu round bend number 5s. Debo, they make a number 5, one of my favorite size.
I do have some of those. Yeah, the in between is a good one.
So this is red, and if it starts to get, I put a fresh hook on it, by the way, after I caught. So
you believe in the red hook too, huh?
Because what are the 2 colors bass can see?
Oh,
red and green.
Yeah,
shallow water. I mean, this is sitting on top. So, yeah, dude.
So is this like, was this a wake bait with like a little spinner? Is this a wake, like a long wake bait?
This is the new version of the Bagley spin tail minnow. It used to be made out of balsa. The problem with the balsa ones, they were very inconsistent. Lip angle, thickness of balsa. There were some really incredible ones.
So how are you working this?
This is a plastic remake of it. I don't even know if these are still being made. So how I like to work this, so it's a topwater bait in my mind. You can't fish it subsurface because you've got it. So, you know, old school. I'll just walk you through how I caught that fish. So near the bank, a little small secondary point off a big point, right? In between a lily pad field and a ditch. So this was either a post-spawn bass.
I'd have been throwing a frog. You said lily pad.
Oh, yeah. No, this was not in the pad.
I'm a frog addict.
They would not bite a frog that day, but Florida bass.
I would have missed it.
This bait's pretty nasty down in Florida, and it's really good anywhere. So cast it out, let it settle just for a split second, and then it's like pop, pop, and that tail and the bait goes down. When I pop it, the bait goes down, and then it wants to rise and kind of flee. And when it's rising, that tail is spinning. You know, you got a good one if the tail is spinning on the rise. Let it sit, pop, pop, and then you could subsurface it, jerk. I mean, you're putting a lot of rod action on it. And the commotion it makes, and it just drives a freaking bass crazy. This is super buoyant. I don't know what they did with this bait, but the plastic rerun of the Bagley spin tail minnow was fantastic. Anyway, there you go, man. That accounts for my PB in Florida.
That's one of the coolest things I love. Also, do have to shout out Bass Geek in here, Hank. Hope you're well, brother.
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest things that I love talking about with like different people. I guess I don't even need to go down that road. I was going to say, I'm not even as much into like, if I could travel and fish, it wouldn't even be as much with pros. It would just be with guys that are like good at certain things that I could learn from. Like that. 100%. I've never, like, speaking of Hank Bass Geek, he talks about like the, whatever it is, it's the popper that's got the lip. He kills on it. It's a booyah prank. Is that what it is?
It's called the prank. That thing is nasty. Yeah. I fished it for the first time walking the bank this fall, and I had been cranking Debo, so I had fluorocarbon on my popper rod, and the fluorocarbon was sinking, but the prank has a lip on it, as you guys know.
Yeah.
And I was working that prank, giving a lot of action underwater, and I would, I'd have to reel up the line on the surface again just to pop it. And literally, I saw 2 cruising like 4-pounders, and one of them just smashed it because I cast towards where they were just cruising the bank about 40 feet off. Clear water. This pond gets a lot of pressure. So I was pretty stoked. That was my first prank fish. Thank you, Zell Roland. I was channeling Zell Roland that day.
Yeah. I need to get somebody. Who was it? I think it was Wendell Fishing. I think it was Zell. I don't know. Somebody iRod makes a Zell, like a popper rod that I wanted to pick up just to try. But anyway, we're going down rabbit holes. But yeah, so Bass Geek, throwing stuff like that, cool stuff that people from around, found like that jerk bait looking topwater thing.
Yes,
I've never thrown one of those.
I'm gonna give you a topwater, since you 3 of your best topwaters or your best baits last year were topwaters. I want you to try the Jack Obinsky. And if you can't find one, I'd be happy to send you one, because it is a prop bladed topwater. It has a prop and the blade. And there's something special about that bait. It was part of our Bojangles championship win down in North Carolina on Lake Gaston.
Is it like a JDM lure or?
Yes, it is. Let me see if I can get one off the wall real quick. I think I might have one over here.
I probably won't find it. I'm not big in the JDM stuff. I don't have a ton of it. I dabble a little bit, but
okay, that's fair.
Hey, Bass Dope sent you some, Hank. That's awesome. Bass Dope is a super good cat. Cool to see.
So this is the Jacobinski. So you see the blade on the bottom there, Debo? It's covering up the B.
Yeah.
And then on the back,
it's the what is it? Blinsky or did it say Dinksky?
Binsky.
Oh,
Binsky. So it has that same prop blade on the back of the bait.
See, it almost reminds me, because isn't the Devil's Horse big down in like Florida and down in the South?
The Devil's Horse is big down in the South. That's exactly right. And that's why that spin tail is Devil Horse like. So this is a Berkeley Devil's Horse recreation that I put. Are you ready for this, Debo? What is that color on the side you see?
No, gold.
Yeah, it looks like it's been beat up, right, already. You know what that's from?
It's like a dying, it looks like a dying shad that's losing its stuff and dying.
Right.
I don't know. The nail polish? I don't know what it is.
Nope, that's gold foil. That's gold foil, literally on the paper that my dad, when I cleaned out his art studio after he passed away, I said, you know what? I'm going to adorn some baits with that gold leaf for my dad's studio. So I don't do it right. I don't know how you're supposed to apply gold leaf because I'm not a gold leaf expert. But I gold leaf the baby -1. I think I caught 8 fish in a row on that. Man's baby -1. Yes, sir, man. It really was, man. It really was. So and then I did it on that bait. So that bait is going in the game when I go down to Florida this spring. Because that gold for golden shiner, and golden shiners are on the menu in Florida. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's the Berkeley spin tail. It's got 2 props, so that's more of your Devil's Horse kind of make. There you go, man.
Oh, I like it. We're all over the place. So we'll be doing a giveaway here. We did I love bait talk like this. So I'm not doing good with the comments. I'm listening to Eric and absorbing his stuff and trying to get back and forth through the comments. I'm at 8:27, so I'm a little bit, only about 20 some minutes behind. But Ben, so sorry, we will be doing a giveaway. I've got some customs. I've got some lipless. That way you can use them for spring. I'll throw in a couple. Eric's going to throw in whatever he decides. He'll send me, and then I'll just send it out once I know.
Sure.
But Ben asked here, so we'll get to that giveaway here in a second. That's what I was getting to.
Yes.
But
all right.
Ben asked, do you have, like, if somebody had a wrench to your head and is going to smack you and says you have to get rid of all your crankbaits except one,
ooh,
what's your one? Could you drill it down to just one?
Man, oh wow, that's such a hard question.
Let's just give your quick roll of the dice one. You just roll the dice quick, and this is probably it. Doesn't have to be. We're not going to hold you to it, but
yeah, I mean, man, I'd have to go at least. I mean, can I get 2 for spring?
Sure, go
and
2.
One
yeah,
for...
go 2.
All right, so in the spring, I would have to say a flat side. Pick any flat side that I showed. It's between the flat side and the shad wrap, but probably the flat side because that just gets a bigger bite. Generally, shad wrap for the numbers, and then man, probably a big square bill, probably a BDS 4.
Okay.
Or
I don't throw those enough. So would that be like a 3.0 and like a KVD 3.0?
Yeah.
Ish?
Yes. I want a bigger square bill. I pick any big square bill you like. Mine would be Balsa. So I'd have to get somebody to remake the BDS 4 with a Lexan lip. Not my Carta.
Thoughts? Have you tried the Hellraiser? I'm interested about this because I have thoughts on it. Have you tried the Z-Man Hellraiser? No,
I haven't. Is it good?
So I am definitely in the minority on this. This is probably going to end up being my so the guys, Jeff and Paul, the aggressively average anglers, super good guys. Yeah. I have a running joke with them that they used to like the Lunker Hunt Spider, which I think is dumb as hell. And I tell them all the time that I think it's dumb. They're like, dude, caught tons of fish. So it's just kind of a joke. But the Hellraiser is probably going to end up being my joke here. Yeah. So it's
for real.
I haven't heard of it. Have you heard of it at least? Oh, you have. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
absolutely, man.
I think the action on it is amazing.
Topwater out there. I mean, I want to throw it.
Yeah, I think it's got an awesome sound to it, an awesome little like darting action. It's just that the hookup ratio with it sucks.
Oh, really?
So I've tinkered with like adding split rings and, maybe even doing some of the braid stuff to it might help, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, I bet it would.
But everybody makes fun of me that I still talk about it because they're like, that thing's garbage. It's in all the clearance bins. I'm like, it has a unique sound. I like it. I'm trying to force it to make it cool, I guess. But.
All right, Dave asked a question. I'm actually trying to pay attention.
Yeah,
favorite
go for it.
spinning reel and bait reels for man. So I'm all about Shimano products. So I have an older Shimano. I want a slower reel, believe it or not, in the spring, because if I'm winding too fast, so 6-3-1 in the spring for bait caster, Shimano E51. I'm a lefty, so that's the E50. I think it's an E51.
We're
Curado.
talking the old E series Curado, the greenies.
The greenies, man, not the tank ones.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about.
They were really good.
We're talking about
really
the
good.
mean green, the glitter green.
Yes, the glitter green,
Yeah.
E51 and the E7. If I want to burn a crankbait, E7. If I'm slowing it down in the spring, I'm throwing the E51. I absolutely love the old G Loomis cranking sticks, which were the bronze series. Any of those lineups, their newer series of cranking rods. I think they brought back the deep flex. But why I like them is they're a graphite fiberglass composite.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the sensitivity of the graphite, and I get the flex and give of the fiberglass, right?
They've come so far with those. It's cool to see, like,
really
back in the old days, I remember throwing the glass rods with Dad, and it was like a pool cue how big they were around,
Oh yeah, man, and heavy,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, definitely, man, definitely. And I crank a lot with mono. I've gone back and forth. Big game is cheap. It's hard to beat 10-pound big game cranking in the spring. It's cheap. You can, freshen it up every day after a tournament, because you got to think I'm tournament fishing mostly these days in the spring. And from a spinning rod perspective, again, 7 foot, I throw a Conquest. I know it's an expensive rod. I used to get a discount on G Loomis. I wouldn't have spent the money if I didn't. I think I used to get 40% off. I don't get that deal anymore. So
sweet.
That's gone. Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah.
But I really have fallen in love with their accents. It's a 4,000 reel. This is just a tip for everybody. I love a bigger spooled reel. Less line twist. Comes off the reel easier, right?
See, now even chat, I'm catching up. Chat's roasting you for talking about the measurement.
Oh, what do you mean the measurement?
Your PV.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, it's a 10-pound class fish. The fish had the frame of a 12, so she was just a little thin. So
yeah,
look,
Mike
man,
even says, "Sorry,
I caught
Epic
that
Eric,
fish.
no skill, no credibility. You lost all credibility now."
That's fair, man. That's fair. Check my Instagram. You'll see how giant that fish was. I'm showing it right now.
Oh, dang! See, now we poked the beast.
I can show it right now. You poked me. All right, that's my PB Potomac. Oh man, it won't stay still. Dang it. Give me a second. Settle down, Eric. No one's trying to get you.
Yeah, we're just teasing you.
That's the Florida fish.
Was that the picture
if that ain't 10, no, that's another one. There she is on the board, 25 inches.
I saw that one. Yeah.
Dude. So, and
so
then
what does that go by?
Here's the cast. Here's the cast to catch, man. Look, my belly's sticking out a little bit. Oops. Dude, right. I screamed so bad, Debo, because the fish boiled on it first.
Oh,
the fish missed it, boiled, didn't really want it. And so I didn't, jerk it away from the fish. I kept it in the strike zone. I was proud of myself for that. And dude, that was braid, 30-pound braid to a big game leader. 30-pound braid to a big game leader on a 7'6" Redemption. Thank you, Brent Anderson. Redemption rod, big topwater rod. I throw my Rio Ricos. I throw my Ricos on it. I throw my big walking baits on it, and I throw that Bagley spin tail on it.
That's what got me thinking about that. So going back to talking to, I think it was a Tackle Talk podcast. Rick Clun talking about how he used to fish the poppers, which completely blows my mind. 25-pound mono with a medium head, makes zero sense to me. I can't argue with him. I mean, that
No,
does
you
no
can't.
good.
No, it doesn't.
But
It doesn't. I think you got to
crazy.
find your jam, and I've settled on that. I love it. The rod has so much. It flexes all the way. I'm never going to pull the bait from the fish. So the braid Debo gives me extraordinarily long casting, right?
Yep.
Positive hook set. So the line and the rod action have to work together.
I always
the rod and the line action.
We talked about this last time you were on. I used to do videos called the hook rod line relationship. All three of them have to work together,
bro, and then it has to work for you.
Right.
If I'm not comfortable, if I have a tip heavy rod, I'm not comfortable. I want that rod as if I hold it in my hand, it's balanced. It's just sitting there straight. It's not dipping down. And I want a rod that's splined right, or spined right, whatever you want to call it, because it's not corkscrewing on the hook set. And you can find that out when you go to Bass Pro, because production rods, some of them are spined correctly, some are not. How do I know? Look it up on YouTube. You might break a rod at Bass Pro if you do it, but you get a good rod. And I'm not talking about a $500 rod. I'm talking about a $100 rod. Pick the one that is spined right. And once you understand what I'm saying, is those guides are, set along the center of that ferrule. Right. So, because I've had rods that were not spined right. And when I went to hook set, that rod corkscrewed somewhere. And so I have no hooking power or less hooking power and missed key fish because of that. Anyway, there you go. And can I show one more favorite bait?
Dude, you can, it's wide open. I'm going to do our giveaway here in just a little bit. I don't know how long you have, but maybe I steal another half hour if you're open.
You could steal another hour, whatever you're up for, I'm up for. So
we have 300 people watching, so there's people are definitely enjoying it. So we'll do
that's awesome.
Yeah, we'll do a giveaway, and we're just gonna keep picking your brain here, man.
I'm pretty stoked about this because I had one of the best spring days with Travis, and he actually had a guide trip that day. His name is George Potash. And Travis like, come on up. We're going to fish alone a couple days, but I do have a trip today, and George wants to fish with both of us. George was fantastic. So we went into this bay, Debo, on Lake Ontario. Water was high. It was a very sunny day. Very little ripple on the water. I had in my mind that I wanted to go fish my old Cardinal 4-reel with my old Shimano Bull.
The old Abu rod. Cardinal, the big roundy,
the green and white one. The green and white one, spinning reel. I'll bring it. I have it up there.
Oh, what was the the round ones? The old Rob, weren't they the Cardinal or no? What were those? Oh no, those were like
about the
Ambassador.
Abu Garcia. Ambassador.
Yeah. Okay, never mind.
So I used to tie this bait up in the spring. It's
like the rocket shad. It looks like
it's a Hildebrandt beetle spin. So I custom tied this one, and I used to tie this for my buds. I would tie with crappy jigs and flashy stuff. But I use this and that bait, not with this head and this skirt, but I used a VMC and a drop minnow from Great Lakes Finesse because Travis helped design that bait. It was black, oddly enough, with a green pumpkin head. And that beetle spin, Debo, won the morning. I caught the biggest fish, the most fish, the first fish, and the last fish.
Dude.
Bass eat beetle spins.
Dude, what I used to throw back in the day. Had this and found that. Dude,
I would catch 5-pound bass with my buddies using a crappy jig head. Like the Neko head that I was showing you because it had a Gamakatsu hook on it. I would tie, woolly booger bodies, right, with the crystal flash tail. I think I got one here. I had it out and I can't find it now. It's bugging me.
Dude, that's freaking funny.
Hold on, I think I put it in here because I want to show it. And dude, we would have the best days because we would catch crappie, bluegill. And we would catch big bass, dude. Big bass would eat it, man. Here it is. This is it, Debo. This is the OG.
And you and me.
And I said, can I catch giant bass up in Lake Ontario on a beetle spin? It won the morning. And I was throwing it, to be fair, on my Conquest with that 4,000 accents. And I had braid to fluoro. So, I think I was throwing 8-pound braid to 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. And I was bombing that thing, man. But that's right there, Debo. Check it out. Look, dude. We were tying up the same thing.
Oh yeah.
The hook rust up, but I would crush bass.
Oh, mine was a production. I didn't tie that. That was from back in the day, but I used to fish that same thing. I was saying the only difference is you catch the big fish. I still always caught dinks on it, but still the thought was there that I had the right frame of thought.
I love it, man. I love it. Those are the moments that I live for. You know, I got somebody who's an expert at live scope. He has all the tackle in the world he wants to fish, right? I'm on his home pond right now. I'm with a client of his, and I bring out this dumb beetle spin, and we're shooting video, and it wins the morning. I mean, I'm proud of that, man. But that's the magic of. I try to explain this to Travis. Travis, you're a different guy. I love that you're a live scope expert. You should love that I'm not, because our channel then can have something for everybody. You want to throw the same thing, your jig, and that's fine. I want to experiment. Like we shot a video, Debo, because remember the big Berkeley study, no claw crawl got eaten more in the tank than a crawl with 2 claws, a crawl with 1 claw. Then they did the no claw crawl with no legs, and that got eaten the most. Well, that's a Ned rig. That's a little general, right? And so we took a Neko bait and we cut both legs off, and I caught more fish than the bigger fish next to Travis throwing with two claws. Isn't that crazy? It worked. Now he would be casting first, by the way, and he was using live scope. So this is when live scope helped. So he would locate a group of fish. He would make the first cast because he saw them. And I can't judge 90 feet like he can, or 80 or 70. And then I would match his cast. And I'm telling you, I was landing next to him, maybe 10 to 5 feet away. And I was on the money. And we both had the same head, same braid to fluoro. All things were equal. And his bait was getting to the fish first. Mine was second because he got to the bottom first because he cast first. We could see them falling simultaneously. You know, I'm up here, he's down here. So he's presenting the bait first. We were both working the bait the same way. Everything was the same. And the no crawl claw got bit more. I love shit like that.
Yeah, that's the times because so my buddy Dizzle and I have done the exact same thing. Now it's a running joke because of that day, which was like years ago. We were both fishing chatterbaits. Yes. It was a little green tinge of the water. And I've always heard if you got green tinge, throw chartreuse. Like, you know, a little bit of algae bloom or whatever, for whatever reason, whether it works or not, I don't know. But I had whatever the color is of the Little Dipper, Reaction Innovations Little Dipper, the sexy shad color with it was like a sexy shad color. I think it was a chatterbait. Elite. And then he right next to me had a bluegill color. So it was like green pumpkin with a little bit of orange. And he had just a straight green pumpkin trailer. And it was like 10-1. We were casting next to each other. I was like, he cast out there. I was like, hey, you want to swim them like a pack? So that's our thing. We were just swimming them together. Like 9 times out of 10, I was getting bites and he was getting so pissed. And I'm like, dude, we're doing the exact same thing. It's this exact same chatterbait, the exact same trailer. Like maybe I'm reeling a little bit faster or slower. And it was the color. Like we believe it was a color thing. So now that's amazing. Our joke is, if we start catching fish, I'll say, hey, you want to swim in a pack? And he's like, F you.
So I had a day on the water with Pete Gluzik from Bass University. I hope I haven't told this story before. I probably have. And if you've heard it before, I apologize, but I'm going to tell it again.
No, that's all right. I'm going to get the giveaway going while you're.
Yeah. Before the jackhammer, right? Everybody's throwing the regular chatterbait, right? And that's winning a ton. So Pete has a regular chatterbait on. Well, I had gone to Japan and found the Imakatsu Mogula Monster Moth Chatter. It's a mouthful.
It's easy.
Why do they call it a moth chatter? Now, a moth flies like this. The way they built the blade, which is attached right to the head, made that bait hunt. So without me imparting any hunting action through rod action, that bait would go straight and then track off and go this way and that way, right? Dude, I spanked him on it. He couldn't take it. He said, give me your rod. Late in the day, I caught a couple more bass. He went 150 yards. I don't think he caught any on the green pumpkin chatterbait. Debo, he caught 2 over 3.5. And we looked at each other and we go, sometimes it is the bait. The bait.
Yeah.
The bait. Not the color. It was the bait and the action that bait had. That's why I'm into baits. I've seen it too many anecdotal stories where I've got my ass kicked or I've kicked ass.
I agree. And that's the tough part is being able to lock that in. Like you were talking earlier, depth, speed, cadence, right?
Yes.
But, that's one part of it. It's like, I don't know sometimes if I should, 1, change baits out completely because this isn't working.
Because it's shape and profile too, right?
Right. So 2, do I just need to change the color? Yeah. Is it just the color? Or 3, Am I working it wrong? You know, depth,
Yeah.
cadence, you know, whatever it is. It's like, it's such a brain slap. Like when you're out there, that's what
Right.
makes those days so rewarding when you get on them and just smash them. It's like
I
every
would
day is not
agree.
like that.
I would agree, man. I would
Well, he's
agree.
not for
I would
me.
agree. I would agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now I'm into tying things on the chatterbaits.
Uh-oh.
Check that out. Check
Oh,
that
hold
out.
on. So hashtag real quick, I want to say hashtag
Oh, yeah.
EE is the giveaway. So I'm going to throw in some of my custom painted lipless.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Eric's going to decide what he's going to throw in here. He's got something cool to throw in. But yeah, we'll definitely hook you up. I'll throw in some extra tackle for you too. We'll take care
I'm
of
gonna
you
throw
tonight.
in. I'm gonna throw in. These are my old school skirts. I do sell them, by the way, but this is silicone Debo, and it's super thin and flat, and old school colors. When's the last time you threw a black and yellow skirt?
Dude, Hawkeye colors. I never throw it.
A lime, dude. You need to put that on the back of a buzzbait during the bluegill spawn. And if I could ask you to do one thing during the bluegill spawn, you love a frog. Yes. Find a yellow bellied frog, and you'll thank me later.
Okay. See, I'm a big believer in the bluegill colored spinner bait. Right into spawn, post spawn is so good, dude. And I never throw that color any other time. Bluegill,
man. Oh, dude, for sure. And when the golden shiners get in the bay, golden shiner. If you live in an area that has golden shiners, find yourself a golden shiner colored spinner bait. That's my river rat. I do sell it, but I don't care if you buy this one. Just buy yourself a golden shiner. I like this one because it has a man's twisted eye, hidden weight system, hand tied skirt, and there's a little glint of Mirage Flashaboo in there. Yeah, that you just can't get with any other material. Sorry, guys. It's got to have it. My buzz baits have it. My spinner baits have it. My chatter baits have it. And by the way, you can add Flashaboo to a skirt with this tool. I made this purple skirt a sexy purple because it's got some 3 strands of chartreuse. It's got 3 strands of chartreuse in it. And you could also add 3 strands of red to make it a bleeding belly. So you could, and I mean, it's precise. You could put it wherever you want it with that tool right there, or a bait needle. A bait needle is cheap, like $2. A bait needle, or dubbing, or you can get it at the sewing store. Just a big old fat needle. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I made mine. I just took a piece of wire and did a little round.
Sure, paperclip will work too.
Yeah. Hey, Jermaine, I appreciate that. The like button does help. I did see Kuda. I don't know if Kuda's still in here. I was gonna say I think he's doing the Chicago show. He's a tackle maker.
Yeah, I've been on his show a little. I forgot to mention his show. Shoot, man, I helped Kuda launch Jig Squad. That was fun, man. I got to geek out on materials with him. Color, flow, design, or is it design, color, flow? He's a flow man.
That I don't know, but I know he always tags me on his purples, which I appreciate. So hashtag EE, like I said, he's going to throw in some skirts, some stickers. Who knows what else? I'll throw in some of my custom painted stuff.
You'll be surprised. It'll be good.
Let's see. Roadrunner. Oh yeah, I used to throw the heck out of the Roadrunners. Absolutely. I know, Dakota. I've actually got him. Arthur, Fish Daddy, got me the adapter because my desktop doesn't have the Bluetooth adapter. I've got some upstairs, but they're for my work stuff.
Oh, nice.
And I just keep them there for when I'm working. So I know, dummy, I need to bring them down here, but so hashtag EE for that. I'm just going through trying to get to questions here. Y'all have been throwing the questions and talking. I'm sorry. I've just kind of been absorbing. Here we go. Here's a good one from Patrick.
What do you got?
Have a favorite jerk bait? There's a wink, preferably one that's still in production, Eric. Not these.
I mean, dang, yeah, right. Okay, the Megabass 110 plus Junior.
The Megabass Vision 110. See, I get a bunch of hate on this one too because I think they're a little overrated.
Junior,
but...
the Junior. I want the Junior. The Junior for extra bites. Because remember, listen to who I am right now in team. I'm not fishing against Scooter, but I'm on the back of the boat. So if he's throwing a full size, I want to downsize sometimes or
cleanup crew.
That's the cleanup crew. So that's why I throw wacky shit behind him. Wacky stuff behind him sometimes. Yeah, man. I mean, he knows what he likes to throw, and he is a hammer. but he loves that I'm bringing new stuff to the game, including big baits. And we didn't even touch on that tonight, but yes.
There's Kuda. Oh yeah, we didn't, dude. Yeah, I didn't even know you got. Maybe we'll save that. So we'll do the giveaway here. So we've got.
Yes.
Then we're gonna pick Eric's brain just a little bit on some big bait stuff because I'm barely dipping my toes into it.
Okay.
Where is it? Here. Okay, so we're 150 people entered. I'm going to give you a 10 count here as I'm looking through questions. Hashtag EE to be entered for the giveaway.
Oh, so they win all of it, yours and mine.
Yeah, they're winning all of it together. Yep.
Oh man. Okay. I thought we were gonna do. You're doing one giveaway. I'm doing two, so we'd have two winners tonight.
No. Well, I mean, unless you want to, we can do that. If you want to mail it out directly, I always figured you just send it to me and I'll mail them out.
I could mail it out directly if you.
Okay, we'll do two.
I mail all the time.
We'll do two.
Yeah. Pick up. You can pick the however you do it.
Yeah, I can. It takes out duplicates anyway, so I can just pull one and then pull the second because I am still behind. But listen, folks, listen. I didn't get stuff out. My truck was dead yesterday, so I was scooting and hoping that it wasn't going to be anything serious. I was able to steal the old lady's car tonight and get a new battery. Luckily, it was just a battery, so we're good. But
I love it.
Say, subscribe, Fishing Friends. I've got giveaways down here ready. They all just need to be labeled.
That's awesome.
I've only got, I don't know, a bunch. Plus, I did a bunch of Christmas ones. So I've got them. They're here. I promised.
That's awesome.
But okay, so we'll draw two right now. So one of them you're getting on the list. Here was my Christmas giveaway list. So just so people know, I haven't forgotten about you. You're just on the different list. So this will be the Epic Eric Live Cranks and lures for me. Okay, and then Eric will do the next one. So if you actually, can they just email you? Is it Epic? Do you have an email or do you want them to email me?
Email you, and then you can email me since you got that. Or they can email me at ericgalasso@hotmail.com. I don't mind. Send my email out.
I'll just have them email me because I've got it all up here. Then I'll just let you know.
Yeah. Okay, that's easier.
Cool. Okay, so let's pull here real quick, and then we're going to
talk about big baits, and I will tell you one more thing about wood.
Okay, this is for Eric's. So this is for Eric. You'll need to email me.
This is cool.
Mike
Hatch. Congratulations.
Mike Hatch. So Mike, you will need to email me DEBO'Sfishing@gmail.com with your address, and please include a screenshot of your YouTube so I know that it's you. So Mike. Oh, Mike also needs to be here. I forgot about that. Must be present to win. None of the drop it and then I'll try to find you. You got to be here. So
that's right. Mike said he's here. Congrats, Mike.
I don't see him, but okay, perfect. Mike Hatch.
I just saw him.
Okay, as long as you saw it, email me there. I'm going to grab person number 2. So this will be for my giveaway.
Yep.
Some lipless, some lures. Who knows what you'll get. And you can also let me know if there's something specific you like. I try to help you out.
Tom Mix. I know Tom.
Tom is a longtime subscriber. All right, Tom, you must be here as well. Hopefully you are here.
Congrats, Tom.
Let's see. Make sure he's here real quick. Okay, so while I'm looking for this, okay, so big baits. Do you have a couple of kind of budgety? I know you probably have gone down the rabbit hole. Do you have a couple for like us beginners that you would recommend?
Absolutely, man. Let me see if I can find one. If I can't, I'm just going to tell you what it is. Yeah, the 168. There it is.
The River to Sea?
Yeah, man. For sure. Yeah. Yep. I would say that's my budget pick.
Tom, there he is. Okay.
Tom, congratulations, man.
If you can email me, DEBO'Sfishing@gmail.com with a screenshot of your YouTube, I got you here. Tom and Mike, just so you all know, you are all on the list, I promise. Those will be going out next week now that truck is up and running.
Yeah.
So thank you all for entering. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of big bait talk here. So I am not the swim bait guy, so maybe we'll try to pick Eric's brain for a couple tips, things that he's gotten into or learned or.
Absolutely. There you go. Okay, so my budget picks. And I don't have all of my baits because I don't have all my glide baits.
That's all right. I can just bring them up on, I can bring them up.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So budget,
YouTube,
the
or
Spro.
Oh, that's one I was throwing. Yeah. That color actually, dude, I had so many. Okay. That was one of my questions I had saved for you. So I want to remember after this, followers and converting those followers if they won't hit the swim bait. Have you had success with that?
No.
Oh, piss. Okay. Well,
no follow-up baits. I have not, and I've asked that question.
Because the funny thing is,
to commit? Because if they're following, they're like they see the boat, you're busted. You know, it's like you're done.
Yeah,
I mean, I've heard people try to figure 8, and the fish is really charged up.
I'm talking about follow-up bait. So I've had so many people say, "Well, you just throw a follow-up bait and you can catch that fish." The hardcore guys be like, I know if I get a follow on that fish, I could have easily caught it with a jig or something else. So it's a different game. I'm like, well, I've tried throwing follow-up baits and I still can't. So I didn't know if you or something that you had in your back. No, you're grinding that swim bait game.
Yeah, oh, for sure, man. So like if I'm pre-fishing and let's say I'm in a boat and I'm on a fishery and I pull 2 giant bass out of a laydown.
That makes sense.
Are they going to be there tomorrow?
Flip a Texas rig or something in there.
Right, exactly. So as a fish locator, like I've pulled 3 and 4 fish off of a dock that I know they're there for a reason. That's probably where they live. And I'm talking 6 to 8 pound class fish.
That makes sense.
Did I go back the next day and catch them? And I threw something different, Debo. I threw the big bait again, but I didn't start with the big bait. I threw what I thought they'd bite. I didn't catch them. I know. I think they were still there. Did they come off the dock and then go someplace else? I doubt it.
See, that's the thing.
That dock was special. That dock was special. It had something to it. It might have been the first dock on a deep bank, right next to a spawning bay. So those fish were pre-spawned, right?
Yeah. See, that's where I struggle. Is like, let's say I'm on a big rock. Like I'm fishing from the bank, let's say, on a big rocky point, I was just throwing it in fan casting, and I would have there was a day I remember where I had like 20 fish falling. Some of them were good, like 3-4 pound fish. And it's like, how do I follow up with that? Like I was already throwing topwater there. I was throwing a jerk bait.
Yeah.
So I don't know,
Yeah. Neither do I. I haven't solved that equation. I've asked a lot of fishermen like Keith Thomas from Black Talon. Yeah. Like, dude, I mean, he fishes tournaments. He's been close to breaking the Pennsylvania state record. That means double-digit fish, multiples. Jeez. I want to go fish with him because I want to be a better glider. I would encourage you to listen to the Bass University shows. I believe I was on that show with him, and I asked a very key question that he thought was a very savvy question. But he's been on a couple of streams. He doesn't appear often, but if you can find the Bass University show with Keith Thomas, and he might have been on Bass After Dark. Butch Brown was recently on. So if you're interested in big baits and you want to hear from one of the best big bait guys in the game, now granted, he's California, very trout oriented, but it will open your eyes to think about soft baits versus glide baits.
Is he the guy that throws is he the guy that makes the because I was listening to that guy, super knowledgeable.
He made Huddleston famous because he's caught a lot of trophy fish on the Huddleston. He makes his own Huddleston style bait. I don't think he sells them per se because a Hudtail is patented.
Who's the the Citizen? That's the guy I'm thinking of. Who makes the Citizen?
That's Mike from Working Class Zero.
Yeah, that guy. Super knowledgeable. Very good.
The Huddleston is a very tall bait, and it's a beast hook. I have fished the Citizen. If you do not have the right gear and you don't jam that giant 8-aught, 10-aught, you're not catching that fish. Yeah. I would say the strike to catch ratio, because I fished with a guy down in Florida who was sponsored by Working Class Zero, and I'm not hating on this bait at all. You have to be a hammer. You have to jam that. You have to learn how to let them eat it. You have to reel down. There can be no slack. You have to have the right rod.
It's a big bait. I mean, if you're thinking the hook and the bait, there's no room in there.
Huddleston is more slender.
Plus, they have the exposed hook, right? The big hook up top.
They do. Well, Butch Brown will cut that hook off and then rig it Butch Brown style. He will crimp a piece of cable. Some guys use braid. You can watch tactical bassing and then stick a treble hook very short. So here's the eye of this Butch Brown rig bait, and then the hook's right about there. I have two Huddleston trouts rigged up, ready to go to fish a West Virginia
I've seen.
lake.
I think they sell that harness now, like the treble hook harness thing.
They probably do.
Yeah.
So you can build your own, make your own, or buy it. You can use wire, 65-pound braid. The tactical bassing guys like braid. Some guys, Butch likes the wire. He's still doing it, but he feels that the Huddleston, if he is crawling the bait bottom oriented, because you got to remember glides, you're not, it's got treble hooks, so you're not working that bait, right? So early season. Anyway, listen to the most recent Bass After Dark. Butch Brown talks
also
a lot about
what are these baits called? What are your glide baits? People are asking, hey, what were those? We've gotten off on a tangent. We started with what were the baits, and we've gone into.
I know. Okay, so we talked about the Mad Waver. We talked about the Spro, right?
Okay. Yep.
This is the Chad Chad, and this is the real Chad Chad.
Yep.
This is the 7-inch Chad. This is a little bit bigger Chad, I believe. So this is their new 7-inch Chad. So that's the old style Chad Shad. This is composite.
Yeah, so that's the resin.
Is plastic. This is resin. I call it composite. This has the brush tail. This has a brush tail too. This is plastic. This is heavier. This sinks faster than this bait. You can get this bait to sink faster by applying lead to the hooks. You could also put the golf tape on the belly if you want and paint over it. Or you could just do like most of the big swim baiters do. They put lead on both hooks or the single hook. Because, they're generally scoping. They're seeing a fish, like Ben Milliken is a master at it, right? Keith Thomas, I don't think he scopes. He just knows where to look for big fish. He's fishing ultra clear water, big laydowns, and grass.
Okay.
Glide baits and grass.
Yeah, see,
think about it.
I guess okay. Do you have
the other big bait I like is a rat, in particular, because it's fun. And during post-spawn, when bass are wolf packing in your lake on bluegills, you'll catch the biggest bass in a wolf pack on a rat. It's a visual fest. It's exciting. And the strikes are absolutely vicious. You don't have to spend a ton of money. This is a lewd bait company. I think this is called the Zombie Gerbil. It is made out of wood, and it is very loud. This is the loudest bait.
Zombie
now,
Gerbil.
I made a rat with my buddy Alan Handler. I got design ideas from a bunch of different rats and a couple of my own. I wish he would bring it out, dude. It's made out of balsa. I'm going to tell you that the wood rat outfishes all composite rats. So Lendl Ha from Elude is the only one that I know. Well, no, there are other wood rats out there. There's a bunch of companies, but it's a fun type of fishing. I think it excels during that time in summer months. It's fun. Marty Burns just made me a rat. I used it in a tournament at DEBO, and honestly, we should have won the championship. I have found a hook that I like. It's the VMC Hybrid Treble. The VMC Hybrid Treble. Since I have switched out my hooks, and I think I'm going to start using them on my glides, I've lost too many fish on big baits. It is sickening. I also love the Clash 9 and the Tiny Clash from DRT. That's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Because of the versatility of the Clash. Let me get a Clash and show you why I like the Clash.
What was the hook?
VMC Hybrid Treble. I can get one for you if you want me to.
I'm bringing it up on the interwebs here.
Okay. And so this is the other one I really, really like. DRT Tiny Clash. It's a crank down glide. Let me get the box. I got
a longer or a shorter shank hybrid?
No, it's a shorter shank.
So something like this.
Hybrid. Yep. It is sticky and it grabs you, man. I got it, Debo. Can you hear me? I got it. Yes.
Everybody too asking about weather. Thank you for thinking of me. No, I think we're supposed to just skirt it. I think we're just barely north of this one, which is good. Sorry, people south of me, but I'm glad to skirt it.
So you could see the curve on that treble. Let me try to get the camera to focus.
Yeah, it's got like a curve down on the tip of it.
There it is, right there. When I was rigging up this treble on my rats, Debo, like taking the old trebles off, which were round bend, and putting this hook on, it was sticking me. And if I tried to pull my hand away, it wanted to dig and hold. It was bizarre. Like, as I was frustrated, I missed some quality fish in a championship, and I caught some quality fish in a championship. And I believe if I was throwing this hook, we would have won $21,000. Instead, we won the big bass of the tournament. Scooter caught it on a frog, by the way. I think it was black. It makes you happy.
Yes.
And then we got the big bag of the tournament. And it was a memorial award for a young angler that had been lost in a car crash. And it was very meaningful to Scooter because he had been his mentor, the Colby Jones Memorial Foundation. His father is still involved in bass fishing and donated those prizes in a big trophy. And Scooter and I blew the field away with the big bag of the Derby and the big fish of the tournament. So it was meaningful, and it was meant to be. Crazy, man. Crazy. But so cool. DRT Clash, Tiny Clash.
Yep, the clashes.
Crank down, glide. You could even wake it. You could dead walk this thing. It is a very versatile bait. Flip of the tail, and it does two different actions. There's mode A, mode B. They have multiple different lips for it. It's a pretty nasty bait. I've caught some hammers on this bait.
Yeah, I've grabbed some of the knockoffs of it to paint.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yep. There you go, man.
Okay, so one other question here. We'll grab you a couple questions. One, I saw multiple up there. What's your swim bait combo? So do you have like a rod reel line that you give for? Maybe give us like your single hook baits, like a Huddleston versus a treble hook, or do you have a difference?
Yeah, so Daiwa, Tatula. I just sold two of them, 300. There's also a Daiwa saltwater 300 size. So the difference is between the Tatula and the saltwater Daiwa, which is blue, by the way.
Yep, the inshore, whatever one.
The inshore, thank you. Yeah, deep spool holds a lot of line. The Tatula has flat paddle handles, and the saltwater has a round handle.
Yeah.
So
I'm all about handles and knobs. I like big knobs, and I cannot lie.
Right, these have big knobs.
Fishing here.
And they're round. So when I'm really trying to give action, like doing those quick, like a quick turn, like a full quick turn, the round handle feels better to me, and it seems easier for me to impart action through reel turns because I use rod and reel turns. So Austin Neary at Dreamcatchers Fishing sold me a couple big bait rods. I have a big bait swim bait Loomis rod, which is extra heavy for those big beast hooks, single hook types of baits. Butch Brown, he'll throw heavy or extra heavy. 8 foot minimum for me.
That's
8
crazy.
Foot minimum for me. Yeah. But
Extra
if I'm in crank down mode with the Clash, I mean, think about it. The Clash is a treble hook bait. So it's not nothing but a big
moderate fast.
I want a more moderate fast, right? Probably in a
what are you for line?
Heavy action. Man, 20-pound big game or fluorocarbon, depending upon what I'm doing. Yep.
Okay.
20-pound and sometimes 17 if I really want to risk the biscuit and maybe get more bites. Keith Thomas, oddly enough, will throw braid to a leader. Braid to a leader. Now think about that. Positive hook setting, but he is fishing his glides way different than anybody that I've heard. And he's not live scoping, generally speaking.
Coastal, yeah. The Coastal's the name of that one.
The Coastal.
The reel, yeah.
That's right.
Big game. Yeah, that's what I hear a lot of people. I was throwing I had some old, I don't like it for anything else, but like the 17-pound P-Line CXX. It's really wiry. It's pretty stiff, but for the bigger swim baits and stuff, it doesn't matter. That or like the big game I hear a lot of people throw.
Big game's good just because you can get it at Walmart.
Right. And it's a little bit softer, than
a little bit softer
for sure. Or some of those copolymers. Okay.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So what would you give for tip? Maybe we'll end on this since you're getting into the big bait stuff. What would you give a tip to a noob like me that's still getting kind of into this and getting my feet wet? Besides grinding, I know I've got to put in the time. And that's the reason I don't is I
Right.
know I'm looking for a few bites, right? And it's tough for me because I have limited time to fish, with family, I
Right.
still work a full-time job,
Right.
so usually on the average I get to fish 3 times a week. So to go out a full day and just burn and hope for a couple bites is tough. I'm going to commit to it this time, I promise.
Right. 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 Right.
But besides the grind and knowing, that you're going to get followers and miss fish and,
Yeah.
what would you give as a tip? Do you have any good ones for us noobs?
Stay away from glide baits.
That doesn't help me.
Man, tips how to convert. So
Besides the grass, I like that you gave that. I do want to work it more on grass lines. It's tough because I fish a lot of grass lakes and we don't have, well, we do, like you were saying, it's probably more of a scope thing where we've got those hard edges, but it's hard to see unless you've got electronics. And I need to get better at identifying that with my down and side scan, because I'm working to get better with that.
Right. Do you have okay, 2 questions. Do you have shad in your lakes?
Some of them, yep.
Okay. What is the main forage in the lakes where you don't have shad?
Bluegill, crappie, wiper, perch. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Maybe the time of year you throw the glide. Limit yourself to that.
What is your best times to throw it, do you think?
Boys, I mean, a spawning fish cannot handle a glide bait over their head.
Okay.
Or even pre-spawn looking for a big meal because, they got to get that extra energy, right?
Because I've always thought like late in the year, like later in the fall, I've heard.
For sure. But I mean, later in the fall, think about it. I mean, unless those fish are schooling, right? And, a lot of times you'll hear, and fall time's great, man, like November-ish, when it starts to get colder, no doubt about it. But I'd personally rather do it when the fish are shallow because the fish are coming to the bank. They're staging and look, man, we've learned there's a group of fish that are always suspended out there in the middle of nowhere. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. Yep. I'm not a guy who's going to stare at the screen and throw a big bait that has lead on the hooks and watch it sink down and figure out how to trigger a bite while I'm looking at that. I want to go and look at that lay down. I want to go and look at that channel swing bank and I can see maybe some rock on a side scan or with my eyeballs, a nice big rock that, has the sun's been beaten on a little bit. Debo, I would never waste my time if there's no wind.
That's just the thing I was reading here. And honestly, I never thought about that. I was thinking more the time of year. A lot of people are saying, Bass Geek, Ben, somebody else was telling me, I was talking to him the other day because I'm the same with like a wake bait, like, like a KVD type wake crank, I guess maybe is more. I never throw them. There's never a time where I go, oh, I bet they're not eating a topwater right now. But I bet I need to go to a wake bait. Like I never think that way. I'm either thinking topwater, I'm going to get a good bite. If they're not eating that, I'm going to go to, subsurface. Never am I like, oh, I bet a wake bait would just be amazing right now. That's not.
No, it's like, man. I mean, like, sun and wind cranking, wind and clouds, a spinnerbait, dude, glide bait, a little bit of ripple, not hard chop. Right. But I mean, partly sunny.
I've been throwing it more in like calm water so I can watch.
No.
Oh,
that is the toughest time to generate a bite because that fish is getting a good look at your bait. They can inspect it, right? Yeah. I mean, that chop breaks up that image. So yeah, man, you're going to get better results. Like the first fish that I caught on the Tiny Clash in crankdown mode was on a riprap bank in a spawning pocket, heading out towards the point with Scooter. First cast, literally first cast. I was throwing the color call. I think it was called Mystic Weed. So it's kind of like a clear with like a green. It just imitates. It's a shad imitator. And I cranked it to depth, Debo, and I'm pulling and stopping and caught like a 4-pounder. I'm like, damn, that was easy. Every time I throw it in wind, when I would normally throw a crankbait, because it's nothing but a big crankbait, I think they would have been a glide too. Parallel that riprap. So think about your angles, right? Think about your angles and how you're fishing your glide, right? I mean, I'd like it early in the season, man. I think, there you go. That's when I would be throwing
that's
it.
what I was just going to say. Think of it like a big crank, or I was talking to Bass Geek, and the thing that kind of made it click for me was just think of it as a really big jerk bait. And that's when I was throwing it the other day and chopping it. And I had so many come right up to it. And then, but it was pretty sunny. And watching them just come up and a little bit different conditions.
Dude, it's very cool. It's mind-bending watching those fish follow a glide, especially in calm and clear water. It's amazing.
Like 4 or 5
because it will tell,
right on it.
It will tell you what's in the lake, right? I mean, the first time with Travis, so we're in Alabama. This is one of the first glide bait fish. So this is probably 5 years ago. So we're down in Alabama. And what did I have with me? God, what glide was I throwing? It might have been the S Waver. And we were seeing fish coming to the bank. We were seeing fish cruising, looking to go and get on a bed, but they were all small, 2 and 3 pounders. And so Travis is
Eric, okay. Think of us people in the Midwest, and
you're right.
Those were definitely above average large fish, is what you meant to say.
It's very true. So I'm in Alabama. I'm thinking big, right? I'm thinking I want to catch a big one. And so Travis is on the phone. He gave me the front of the boat. It's about 11 o'clock. It's sunny. The wind had picked up, and you could see Debo with my eyes, because he wasn't really scoping hard at that point. He had it, but there was a break, like 4 foot to 2 foot bed areas, lots of buck bass up. And I'm going, the females have to be here on this 4 to 6 foot drop. And I could see it. It was a hard drop. I literally lined the boat up. I was on the drop. I'm using my eyes.
You're casting
parallel to the drop.
You're casting right on that drop.
Parallel to the drop. Dude, I caught a 6-pounder on the S Waver within 15 minutes. Because I could make the cast, I could work it along. I'm using a brightly colored, like that visible trout color is the banana yellow one. And literally just, chopping it, pausing it, and just let it swing out hard over the drop. And I saw the bite. It was freaking fantastic. Big head.
That's one I want to work on this spring. I'm glad that you said that. And the wind.
And there are smaller glides that will generate more bites. So, maybe downsize.
Have you heard of the clutch one? The clutch baits
clutch
or whatever?
Fantastic. Clutch is fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of people recommended that one to me, so I grabbed one of those.
So here's one from Fish Everything, and I painted this myself in like a sexy shad. But this is a tinier glide right there. But
yes.
I would maybe do something like that to just give yourself confidence and generate more bites. You're going to get more bites, right? That's a snack
what
size.
What is that from?
Really thin. It's called Fish Everything. And notice I put the red in the middle.
A little blood in it, yeah.
A little, did that. Whisper of red on the throat. This was a naked bait.
Is that a small bait maker or?
No, Fish Everything's in Maryland, and he'll do drops on his site, and you can get it. This is probably.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it on like Tackle Ross, or is he more of a? Okay, Fish Everything.
Right, and he's got a tuning hole in the middle, right here, and then a hole in the side. I don't know if you could see that right there.
Oh yeah.
And you could stick a pin in it and drop tungsten balls in there, so you can vary your sink rate. There you go, Fish Everything. Yep.
Okay.
Tell him I sent you. And that's like his 6-inch. Yeah. Anyway, there you go, man. Yep.
Yeah, Dustin appreciates it. You being the teacher. Yeah, dude, we're over on time, so I think we're going to end it there. I do want to give a special shout out to Eric. It was a very, very informative night. Go check out his website, Eric. I'll leave that in the link below too for people.
Oh, thank you.
I'll get that from you after. Yeah, check out his website. He's making some cool stuff. Like I said, I'm not trying to hide it. I stole his idea with his sweet shaky heads that he does. This is my lame version of it. But
it's not lame at all. Honestly, I encourage everybody, get advice, get yourself, don't throw your old skirts away. Just use your imagination, man. You can put it on so many things, and it will generate. It gives you just a little bit more volume, a lot of action. Think about that Ned down there. You've got that silicone. Just when you're not moving the bait, you're shaking slack line. It's just there doing its thing.
Cool. Well, dude, we appreciate it. Where can people find you? Follow you on the Instagrams? Where you?
Yeah, man. So at Epic Eric Official, I also have the Bass Lab, Epic Eric's Bass Lab, and then one more site, which is Legendary Lakes Tour. And so that's my passion project. I want to visit lakes throughout the country, maybe fish with some smallmouth crush viewers, and meet bait makers, normal guys like Big M, Marty Burns, who's carving balsa, hand carving it, old school. I could tell you this: wood topwaters are way more responsive than plastic ones. Debo,
I was just talking to somebody about some wood poppers today.
You got to get yourself some wood walkers. He makes this one. It's called the Dream Walker. I painted that myself, a little frog pattern.
It's like a Sammy, Sammy look to it.
It is, yeah. It's a Dream Walker, and they are just, the responsiveness of wood is just, I can't compare it to anything else. Anyway, so Legendary Lakes.
Cool.
Hopefully I can embark on some of those trips in 2025 here and visit some great lakes that I've been reading about since I've been a kid. That's the dream. Fish them, experience for the first time, visit local tackle shops, meet some bait makers and some viewers along the way.
It's about the experience, dream, man. Catching fish is just an added bonus.
If I catch them, that's great. If I don't, it's okay, man. I'll see some new water and I'll grind it out, man. I'll grind it out from the bank or boat.
Agreed. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for watching tonight. We truly appreciate the support, and we'll see you again next Saturday.
I love it. Thanks, Steve.